In this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact diet, supplements, and routine that I currently have in my lifestyle, and then just give you a little bit of an explanation as to why I think this is so important. Now, instead of filming another video where I just talk about business-related things, today I'm going to talk a lot about nutrition and lifestyle, primarily because I believe this has a massive impact and influence on how you show up within your business and how successful you will be. Now, if we haven't met before, my name is Josh Bowers. I've been in the online coaching space since December of 2019. I made a little bit over $1.5 million in cash collected over the last couple of years. My first offer was called the Bikini Body Project. Scaled that to about 300 clients. At one point, had 100 active clients in there with no team. Then I jumped the fence to do business coaching, where I now show other online fitness coaches how to build out and scale their online fitness coaching offers. And the purpose of all of these videos is to just show you the things that have worked for me over the years, the things that have not worked for me, and then what I'm currently doing in my business and also with my clients as well. Now let's start off with routine, as I think this is sort of forms the foundation of everything. When it comes to sleep, ever since I've been an in-person coach, this has been probably one of the things that I've taken the most serious. And if you know me personally, you'll know that you should never fuck with my sleep. I have a very rigid routine when it comes to sleep, and my sleep hygiene is extremely good, I would say. I always go to bed at pretty much the same time every night. I've got about a half an hour variable on when I go to bed. And the reason why I'm starting with my bedtime and not the time that I wake up is I truly believe that your day starts the night before. So for me, my routine kicks in at about 9 p.m. I have an alarm that, funnily enough, goes off on my phone that signals to me, hey, it's time to wind down, it's time to go to bed. This kicks off at 8 p.m. for me, and then it gives me about an hour to go and have a shower and read a book or get into bed, do whatever I've got to do, and then ideally lights out by 9:30. I'm then waking up anywhere between 5 and 5:30. At the moment, it's 5:30 a.m., but if I have a little bit more on my plate in terms of work, generally up at 5 a.m. When it comes to sleeping, there are a couple of apps and things that I do use to sort of also improve my sleep hygiene quite a lot. So during the nighttime, I'll always be wearing these. You might see me wearing these in my videos sometimes. These are blue light blocking glasses. Some people will take the piss out of me and think that they're funny, but I don't really care because they do block out a lot of blue light and they really help me with my eye strain. But the biggest thing that I've noticed from using these glasses is that they help me fall asleep. I fall asleep like this. Like, I'm not even kidding. I fall asleep so fast. There's a link down here which I'll have to these glasses that you can check out as well on Amazon. I use a sleep mask as well. And then I also use this app on my phone called Sleep Cycle. Now, you're going to see that I'm quite like a tinfoil hat wearing type person as I go through some of this. But on the other side, I'm also not perfect. I know that sleeping in my having my phone in my room while I'm sleeping is not the greatest thing, obviously EMFs and things like that. But for me, I use this app called Sleep Cycle. There's a link in the links there for you. And what it does is it listens to you sleep. I find that if I can stay on track of my sleep data, like sometimes I'll wear an Oura ring as well, but I don't really like wearing that ring too often, as I find I get a little bit too data driven. But Sleep Cycle is good because it listens to your sleep, it analyzes your sleep and then gives you a sleep score. Plus it also has some like white noise, rain and other different sounds that you can listen to fall asleep. Next thing is my meals. I am a man of routine. I have been ever since I've been really serious about going to the gym. I eat 3 core meals a day, and then a snack somewhere through there as well. Snack is maybe sometimes like a protein shake, so I don't really count that as a meal, but 3 core meals go down in my day. In terms of training, I'm currently training 3 to 4 days a week. I'm on a little bit of a lower volume program at the moment. At the time of filming this, I've just moved from Bali back to Australia, and my nervous system has been feeling a little bit jacked up, so I've just pulled the volume back, just pulled the amount of sessions back until I'm feeling a little bit more settled in over the coming weeks. And then I'll likely escalate that up to about 5 sessions. 4 to 5 a week is a sweet spot for me. I'm not trying to be a hero bodybuilder anymore. I'm also training for performance and longevity. Next thing is walks. I don't track my steps. I'm not super pedantic, unlike what some people are like, oh, you've got to get your exact 10,000 steps a day. I think we need to walk, but sometimes I think chasing crazy numbers of steps is unnecessary. So long as you're walking and you're healthy, your diet is good, I don't think steps are that important. Sure, if you're doing 1,000 steps a day, I think you need a little bit more than that. But if you were to track my steps, they float anywhere from sort of like 6 to 10,000 steps per day. The next thing in my routine is work blocks. So I have always been an early kind of person, so I'm up early. I spend about an hour and a half in the morning doing my morning process. So I spend time with God, I read the Bible, I do some morning reflection work, sit there and have breakfast, sit there and have a coffee. And I often sit in the sun if it's out for like anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes as well, just because it's just a great way to set the tone for the day and just start the day off a little bit steadier as opposed to diving into work. But when it comes to work blocks, pretty much at the moment I finish that morning routine, I'm straight into work and I'm all systems go from that point there. I'll usually do 2 to 3 hours straight, take a break, a little bit of a work block, take a lunch break, which is about an hour. I'll again eat lunch, sit in the sun again if I can, and then do a work block in the afternoon. And I'm training in the afternoons at the moment, but I don't even want to talk to you about my training routine and structure because it's always been all over the place over the years. Not in a way where it's been inconsistent, but just the timing of when I train has always varied. I often find I train best at about 10 a.m. or 2 p.m., and that's what works best for me. Final thing here is couch potato. You might look at that and think that's weird because I'm kind of like talking on like the productivity side in this video, but for me personally, I've definitely been at both ends of the spectrum where I've taken things really slow and been probably a little bit too complacent, and then I've taken things to the extreme many times and have just worked myself into the ground. So what I do these days is I have personally found that what can recharge my own battery, this is me personally, is just being a couch potato every so often. So usually at the end of the day, I'll put on some sort of TV show, nothing that's going to be like too secular or that's just garbage where it's just going to fill my brain with nonsense. But I do like sitting there and watching a movie or just literally laying on the couch, scrolling on the reels on my phone and having a good laugh. For me, even though that's doom scrolling and it's not productive, if you talk to the productive bros, it's a way that I find I can recharge and pour back into myself. For other people, this might be going into the sauna or it might be going for other walks or whatever fills your cup and fills up your needs, then do that. But for me, being a couch potato is really beneficial for my work productivity, funnily enough. So I love being a bit of a potato here and there, but obviously, as we know, that can be a bit of a slippery slope as well. So there's a bit of discipline that has to be at play with that one there. Let's have a quick look at my diet. For context, I'm 5'5" at the moment. I'm about 75 kilos, which is like 165 pounds or something like that. So I'm not the tallest or most jacked dude, and I don't have the goal of being like that anymore. Like I said, for me, my focus now is performance and absolutely trying to maximize my health as best as I can. I've got quite a few unhealthy members, family members in my family, and I don't want to end up like them later down the line, as I truly believe that a lot of their health conditions are actually diet and lifestyle related. So for me, meal one has been the same meal for literally like 5 or 6 years now. I have 6 organic pasture-raised eggs. There is a little bit of grass-fed butter in there as well. There's 10 grams of grass-fed butter. I then have fruit. Fruit's always varying based on season and just whatever I'm feeling like, but usually it's 2 servings or 200 to 300 grams of fruit. And then I'll have a black coffee. Some days I will go and get a milk latte from the coffee shop down the road, but what I'm really looking forward to is in the coming weeks, I will be buying my own coffee machine, starting to make my own coffee at home. And when I do that, it'll be either black coffee, or if it's a latte, I'll be using raw milk because I can now get good quality raw milk now that I'm back here in Australia, which is fantastic. The second meal that I then have is grass-fed beef burgers, so 375 grams. I have 75 grams of dry weight rice, and then coupled with that is fruit. Dinner is pretty much the same as my lunch, except it's just going to be a different type of protein source, and then sometimes I might have like a spaghetti bolognese, but 9 times out of 10, this is, not even 9 times, like 98% of the time, this is the exact structure that I stick to 7 days a week. Keeping in mind, I don't have a girlfriend. I have a social life, but I keep it on the smaller side of things. So it's very easy for me to stick to this, but this is what works for me. Some of this stuff could be a little bit extreme for some people, but I always like to live in extremes, as you would know. I am also extremely health conscious with a couple of other areas in my life that sort of reflect in these meals if you haven't detected that already. But for me, the first one is I'm very pedantic about microplastics. I think that we consume far too much just based on how lifestyle is these days. We consume approximately 1 credit card worth of plastic. I think it's a month or a week or something like that. So for me, I absolutely do my best to minimize microplastics. It's extremely hard to get away from it, but everything you'll see in my house is either wood or stainless steel. I don't have any like plastic cutting boards. I'm never really buying packeted food. You know, I'm not going to go into the rabbit hole of that one there, but I am mindful of microplastics. I'm a firm believer that seed oils are not healthy for you, despite what the science says, and I'm not going to sit here and argue that with you. I don't care about what your thoughts are. I just care about my own personal beliefs. The next one is pesticides. So glyphosate is a specific pesticide that is heavily used on a lot of fruit and vegetables. So ideally trying to go organic or buying from the farmer if you can, and then still washing it, because even organic still uses pesticides. But there is plenty of studies linking, I think it's autism, to high consumption of glyphosate in the parents. So you just have to be really careful with these kind of things. The next one is tap water. I feel like this is a bit of a no-brainer, but you can't convince me that tap water is healthy. There's chlorine in it and all sorts of other different chemicals. Birth control leaks into the tap water supply. Like, it's just a mess. There's even studies showing that with frogs kept in a smaller environment using tap water, some of them turned gay, some of them changed their sex. And if you think about what's going on in the world, it doesn't take a rocket science to connect those two together. Next one is soap and moisturizers. Now, I know this isn't really a diet, but it's kind of like in the same category that I'm going to put it in for today. So for me, I'm always trying to choose a soap that is really low on the chemical side. I'm trying to go as natural as I can with that. Moisturizers, I use a beef tallow just for my face. I don't use any face cleansers or anything like that. I don't think I've washed my face in like 2 or 3 years. And I think if you were to look at my skin, I think my skin's looking pretty good, because again, I don't buy into the belief that we need to even use those things. I think if you are healthy, truly healthy, you don't need a lot of the chemical things that we apply on our body every day. Our body is also our largest organ, and that's absorbing things. So if you're lathering with freaking sunscreen, or yuck, I'd never use sunscreen, but sunscreen, and then Rexona, spray, and then you're covering yourself in all sorts of different things every day, your body's just going to get pissed off over time. So next one is polyester bedding, underwear, and clothing. This is a really hard one, but polyester is like in 90% of the clothing that we wear. This shirt that I'd be wearing right now and these shorts would be full of it. And that's plastic. Polyester is actually really thin strands of plastic. And again, that's microplastics in contact with your skin every single day. Same thing with bedding. If you're spending 7 to 9 hours in that thing a day, that's a lot of time spending wrapped up inside of plastic. So for me, my bedding is a 100% organic cotton. And then I can't remember the inside of the quilt thing, but whatever, it's fully organic, put it that way. My underwear as well, 100% cotton, organic underwear. There's a study showing that men who wear polyester underwear, especially tight underwear, have lower testosterone levels, and is even showing in dogs where it decreases the fertility of both the male and female dog when they made them wear polyester underwear. So if you're doing that, get rid of that. If you're having trouble having kids, or you want to have kids and healthy kids, get the polyester underwear out of there. Same thing with clothing. Like, I'm not perfect and I want to make that known, but I do my best to try and minimize polyester as a whole. Next one is my supplement stack. So I'm not going to go too deep into every intricate why, but I'm just going to give you a high level of what I'm trying to do here. So for me, again, it's health, performance, and longevity. So a lot of these supplements in here, and I'm going to this document that you'll see from today is actually going to be linked in the description of this video. But a lot of these supplements here are geared towards health, performance, cognition, and then maximum amounts of testosterone. So a lot of these here are leading towards testosterone. Some of these only have low levels of science behind them proving that they have an impact on testosterone. But if you can get every sort of like 1 or 2%, those things do add up as time goes on. But these are pretty much the exact supplements that I have every day. I've got an AM and a PM stack. I split it up primarily because it's just a shitload of tablets to put in your mouth every single day. Omega-3, I get a really high quality one. None of this stuff is from your local supermarket either. I don't believe that cheap is better. Often they're trace elements and then they're not true minerals within the actual vitamins. So all the links to the websites that I buy from are going to be linked down below that I'll walk you through in a moment. But yeah, most of these are high testosterone supporting supplements, longevity supplements, health supplements, mood supplements. Magnesium glycinate is a great one for sleeping, although I've got 300 to 400 milligrams here. To be honest, at the moment, I'm probably running at about 200 milligrams every other day. I think I'm sort of doing at the moment. And the reason why is this gives me really fucking weird dreams. I sleep like, crazy, like I'm dead. But the dreams I have are so freaking weird. Like, and it just, yeah. So sometimes I just have to pull back on that a little bit. Final thing here in the supplement stack is just like what I use to focus. Now, I love a little bit of nicotine. This is just like the quit smoking nicotine spray. No, I don't smoke, but what this does is it just delivers 1 milligram of pure nicotine. The Zyn pouch things, I've tried those a couple of times. I'm not sold on putting a little plastic sack in my mouth and sucking on that. I just don't know if I really buy into what that is or the chemicals within that. This is a pure form of nootropic. So nicotine in cigarettes is coupled with all of the chemicals of the cigarette, but this is just pure nicotine, and this can give you a boost of like cognitive function. It's going to give you a little bit more focus and that sort of thing. Black coffee is obvious, that's caffeine. For me as well, I'm a huge fan of sparkling water. Must be in a glass bottle, no more microplastics from that one. Plenty of minerals in there, that's good for the brain as well. And funnily enough, I like to have a little bit of dark chocolate here and there throughout the day, just because it's got the feel-good chemicals in there. It can raise dopamine a little bit. Again, just helps with focus. And I find, even if it's a bit of a placebo, just stacking all of these together, I tend to get this really like, yeah, I'm on kind of thing. So yeah, that's pretty much my diet, supplementation structure, and routine that I'm currently following. Now, in this link section here, I've linked a couple of the things from today's video. So we've got Sleep Cycle, that's the app I use on my phone. These are the glasses I think that I have. If not, they're just from Amazon. They're like $30. This is where I get my beef organ capsules. This is where I get the ashwagandha, shilajit, Tongat Ali, all of the other supplements up inside of there are pretty much from here. Mirabuka Whey is an Australian-based grass-fed whey protein that isn't full of chemicals. Like, this protein powder doesn't taste like all of the other ones, and it's not amazing to drink, but it's only got the basics in there that you actually need in a protein powder. And again, my objective is just to minimize how many artificial sweeteners, how many chemicals I'm consuming, despite what the fucking science says. I don't care if science says that aspartame is okay in low amounts and this is okay in low amounts. I don't think we should have any of those chemicals going into our system, or at best we should try and minimize the consumption of those. Final one here is Naked Tallow. This is just the moisturizer that I use on my face and body. None of these are linked with like referral links where I get a kickback or anything like that. The links are just there because I have a feeling people are going to be asking me, where do you get this from and where do you get that from? So that should just save that one there. And I'll try and add to that list as time goes on. But my friend, that is the structure that I currently use. Hope you got some value from that, and I'll see you inside of the next one.